Hello and welcome to Books and Writers Podcast by Promocave. If you write books or you love books, this podcast is for you. And today we have a very special guest, Nicholas Tanek. Nicholas, how are you today?
I'm very well. Jorge, thank you again for having me.
You're very welcome. And today we're going to talk about finding your alpha reader. That's the topic of today, finding your alpha reader. Now, we were chatting before, and you were telling me some crazy stories about your readers and what they do. I call your perfect reader, the reader that recommends your book, that reads every single book, tells gives it for Christmas, birthdays, and everything else. I call that your alpha consumer or alpha reader. But I think your alpha reader is a little bit more over the top.
I wouldn't say over the top necessarily, but I have a small following, but they're passionate, and that's what I love about them, because they're really cool. I wrote a book. Called The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself, which is a tribute to the love of my life who passed away, and it's filled with a lot of hard drugs and kinky sex and endless music references. And I knew nothing about being an indie author, and I published a book, and I tried to promote it myself. And little did I know that there was this whole culture of indie author people, just people who loved indie authors and who, just supported indie authors, and just people who just loved to read. And I sent my book out, and I guess it touched some people. And so there are people like, for example, Izza Jones, Kim Gray, Joanne Sweeney. These are three people who were essential. And then you have Desiree and Tam Tam and some other people, Amy, and they just really just got the book and understood it, and they knew how to promote. I didn't know how to promote. I didn't know how to promote at all. I'm a fool. I'm an idiot. I was just like, I wrote a book. And they're like, oh, well, you know what? We're going to help you promote it. So I'm like, great. And they did, and it's awesome. It's done all out of love, and I love them for that. I'm indebted to them for that. And they started promoting it on Facebook and Twitter, and little did I know that they had this whole community. There's this whole community of indie authors who are just promoting books and just sharing books, and it's wonderful.
And how did you find these promoters? Are they readers? Are they readers that like your book? How did you find them?
It's a good question. It's a good question. Goodreads, Facebook and Goodreads, basically. Okay. Facebook, Goodreads, and Twitter were basically the way I did it, and I read you know what? I read their reviews. And I read their blogs, and immediately I was like, I want this person to review my book. And it's very narcissistic in the level. He's like, this person reviewed that book. Well, that person, she should review my book too. That's at the basic core level. But at the real, true mental level, I was like, I wonder what that person would think of my book. I hope that person likes my book. I wrote a book. This person likes to read. I want to know their thoughts about it. Even if it's bad, I'll take the criticism. You know what I mean? And so I reached out to them, and I gave them free books. Some of them I sent them paperbacks, even paperbacks overseas. And it costs a lot of money to send a paperback overseas. Yeah. I'm in Jersey. You send a paperback to. It costs more to send a paperback book than it costs to make the actual book. That's how crazy it is. So, I just sent it out, and I was like, I didn't care. You know why? I didn't care because I was so excited that I wrote a book, and I was so excited and proud of the work I did. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is great. So please read it and review it. Do whatever you want with it, please. And they liked it. And so they knew a lot more about actually, they knew everything more about marketing and promoting books than I did. So people like Kim Gray, people like Izza Jones, Joanne Sweeney, they're like, they came, Joanne Sweeney and Izza Jones, they're from Joe and Izza Loves Books. Kim Gray has a blog, called We Love Big Books. And they just took off. They're like, oh, you need a street team. So like, what's a street team? Okay, I guess I need one. And they put together people who read the book and support the book, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And people they started sending stuff on Facebook, posting stuff in groups. So there's groups for books and readers on Facebook, and Twitter and Facebook. Twitter and Facebook basically is was something really interesting, something I knew nothing about if it wasn't for these people in my life.
Wow. Well, I see several things here. One of them is reaching out, right? It's very important to just reach out and start a conversation with people. And a lot of authors are not great communicators, at least with real people, not characters, right? So I see that number one,
yes.
Right? It's reach out.
Definitely reach out. Look, be proud of your work. No one's going to be. Look, if you're not going to like be proud of your work, no one else is going to be proud of your work. So it's like be proud of your work. And say, I think you'll enjoy this. Maybe you won't, but I think you will. There's nothing wrong with that. There's really self-promote. It's basic. It's just marketing 101. And I'm not in this to sell books either. I'm in this to try to get something cool out there to people. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying. I don't live off this. This is not money to me. I'm just trying to do something cool. And yeah. So you have to self-promote. You have to. So I have no shame when it comes to that.
Okay.
Oh, and buy the coolest way to kill yourself, and also buy Chip Like Nail Polish.
Okay. And just by reaching out, this happened, which is amazing.
Yes. Now, just by reaching out.
Now we talked before. You wrote 2 books. So far, you wrote 2 books, right? What are the names?
The names of the first book is called The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself, and the second book is called Chip Black Nail Polish.
Okay. And you have it on paperback and Kindle?
Both, yes. You can get it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Yes, they're available. They're easy to get. As long as you have internet access, you could get them.
Okay. And you started reaching out online. I review my book. You found your alpha consumers, and then they started helping you promote your book, and then you found more readers. Is that correct?
That's exactly what happened. I reached out to people, and it was just by sheer luck that I don't know if it's luck. Maybe it's the stars lined up. Whatever you want to think, it doesn't matter. But I reached out to people, and I was like, I wrote a book. And I sent them like heartfelt, specific messages, not copy pasta, which is just copy and pasting the same thing over and over again. I sent them specific messages saying, this is my story. It means a lot to me. I respect what you do as a book blogger. I respect that. I really appreciate it. I like your style. I like what you do. I'd really love it if you reviewed my book. And then, some of the people, of course, I get some reviews who are like, oh, it's a great book, 4 stars or 5 stars, whatever. But then I get the really cool people who really had an emotional connection to the book that got back to me, and they're like, I want to help you promote this.
Okay.
And you don't know what you're doing. Nicholas, you don't know what you're doing. This is what you need to do. People like Kim Gray, people like Joanne Sweeney, like they were like, and Izza Jones, who are in the marketing world of book marketing, they're like, you need to do this. So I'm like, okay. And then I did what they said, and like things changed. Seriously, like I started getting a following, and that's weird because all I did was write a book, and it's not a big book. It's not a very popular book, but it's a book that has some kind of following, and it's awesome. It's changed my life. It's absolutely changed my life, and I'm so grateful for people like them.
Well, that's terrific. And you know what? Something very interesting that I tell authors is build your author platform. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're building your author platform of people that will not just buy your first book. They will buy anything that you write now. So you have a built-in platform to whatever you do.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully.
That's great.
Because I got a new book coming out. It's going to be about like next year. That hopefully it's all about the BDSM industry, and not the industry, but the community. And it gets a little crazy, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like people to that's exactly what I'm looking for. People to be like, say, oh, Nicholas Tanek wrote a new book. I'm going to get it regardless. Yes,
and that's your platform. Now, your new book, is that fiction as well, or bio fiction?
Yeah, all my books are true. They're just they're basically my stories in the wild people that I met in my life, and for some I actually reach out to them and say, I'm writing a book about what happened. Can I use your real name or not? And they say yes, or they say no. Some people say yes, some people say no, and it's like it's really just for legal reasons. Say I could say this all my books are true stories, but I just change names and say, hey, yeah, fiction. Yeah, sure, fiction.
And you were telling me also before about how you're using Facebook. Tell us about your takeover and an event. Tell us what that is.
That's good. Okay, so there are the bloggers. It's part of the indie author community. So. Bloggers have these things called takeovers and events. Takeovers are more slow, and that basically someone has a blog, someone has a group on a Facebook page. Isa Loves Books is one. Another one is Verna Loves Books. Another one is Jazzy World of E-Bookshelves. And they all have events, and a takeover is where an author for an hour takes over, and they basically just promote the book, and they just kind of say, hey, here's my book, check this book out, and they give a book away. They have a contest. One contest I like is like like ruin a book, or what's the weirdest thing you've ever done, or what is something you want to do but never have done, stuff like that. And whoever gives the craziest answer wins a book, And then the street team that I have has made amazing teasers. Wendy Buck and Melissa Blair have made, and Kim Gray have made these amazing teasers for my books. So I post those up. Wendy Buck made this insanely beautiful video from my book. Actually, a bunch of them. Put those up too, and you promote the book. But the events are another thing. The events are something where, for example, one of these websites or one of these bloggers are having a celebration. For example, I went to one with for male authors, because I'm a male author, and I guess a lot of women write erotica, and a lot of males don't, or don't do it right, or whatever. But it's like they sell a lot of books or whatever. I don't know. It's all bullshit. It's all crazy. So there's a bunch of male authors. So I get an hour. So I get there, I say hello, start the contest, and, you know, people, I do an Ask Me Anything thing, where I go, ask me anything, and they're like, whoa. I get everything from, like, literally someone asked me what kind of underwear I'm wearing. You know, someone asked me, like, you know, what song would you like to be played at your funeral, and stuff like that, and, you know. And then I have some crazy friends who, you know, come in just to kind of mess with people, and they say, you know, they're like, I want to wear your skin like a suit. I love you so much. I want to stab you. I can't wait to stab you. You know, and no one gets it, but like it's like an inside joke between me and this woman named Cricket. And you know, yeah, it's an event. So though anybody who's an indie author should really participate in these events because they help promote the book, and they could be very exhausting, but you know what? They're worth it. And the people involved are worth it and are fun and have a good sense of humor and are cool people.
So for the authors out there, and also for the readers, because a lot of readers will want to go and participate, you find a group that you like on Facebook. That's the first step. You reach out, that's the second step. Maybe you donate a book, and then you ask them for their next event or takeover. Is that how you do it?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Self-promote. Go if there's an event, like straight up ask them. You're not going to get anywhere without self-promoting. It's just a simple fact. Especially if you're an indie author, you know, go to people and say, "I think you like this book." And you know what? A lot of people aren't even going to read it. Some will. Some will participate and promote. There have been people who promoted my book and participated in promoting my book, and they haven't even read it, and then, like, a couple weeks later, read the book and were like, oh, I wish I read it sooner. You know? Like, it's so good. I love your book. I wish I could have done a better job promoting your book. Some people just like to promote books. You know, I'm a crazy music head. I love music. I love records, collecting records, stuff like that, and I get all kind of, not starstruck, but like I get kind of all involved in getting a new record. Some people get that way with new books, and you know.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a terrific analogy. I never thought of that.
Oh, really?
You're right. It's like a new record for a lot of people, and they get really into it.
Yeah, right. And it's insane. It really is. It's surreal to me because personally, I think I'm a major F up. You know what I mean? In my life, I'm sober, but I'm like I've done a lot of drugs. I've messed up my life with a lot of money, and you know, in corporate America. And so I'm getting by. I know how to hustle. I know how to do my thing and everything like that. But straight up, I think I'm a screw up. You know, I am the family screw up. I'll straight out say that. Like, I'm the runt of the litter. You know what I mean? I am the total runt of the litter, you know. and it's like, it's to the point where, like, my mom and dad are like, oh, yeah, that's just the way he is. You know what I mean? And, like, you know, so, like, I'm trying to survive, you know. I'm trying to do my thing. And I've accepted that. But at the same time, the only thing that I think I'm good, the only thing I feel that I'm good at is writing. And the only thing that makes me feel good about myself, not the only thing, all right, I should take that back, not the only thing, but one of the only things that makes me feel good about myself, that makes me feel that I'm doing something positive, is writing. And, like, that has changed my life, and I'm glad that I've done that, and I hope other people do that, because anybody out there who feels like I do, they should just do it too. They should just, you know, get in front of a computer. Get that, you know, those 26 letters of the alphabet. Start using them.
That's right. And some of the things that you sent me that your group, your alpha consumers, your team makes for you, I'm going to upload for your profile. So when people, readers, writers, hear the podcast, they can go to Promocave. They can look under your name. So people can go and write. I mean, people can go to promocave.com. They can search for Nicholas Tanek, and I will upload your videos. I will upload all of your information so they can see in one place. They can see everything, all of your, let's say, your marketing collateral, let's call it, your teasers, your videos, and everything in one place. And then people can see everything that you've done to promote the book and everything your readers have done to promote your book, and they can get ideas, so they can see how you're doing it. So that's going to be cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, Jorge, you are amazing. You really are. Great guy. Really cool. And you know what? I'll have my street team promote your podcast.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Works both ways.
That's right. I call that in Karma for the West.
Yeah, right on.
And also, you told me you did a Facebook takeover earlier today, right?
Yeah.
And as an example, that it was a group, a Facebook group. Do you know how many members or followers of the group?
Okay, I can tell you right now if you give me a second.
Yeah. And then another thing that would be interesting is how long it lasted and how many questions you got, because I think that's important to know.
Okay.
As well.
Okay. It was a celebration of 400 likes. So basically, a friend of mine named Elena Cruz has a blog called Jazzy World of eBookshelf, and she got 400 likes. And it's just 400 likes. That could be a lot. That could be little, depending on what you think. And regardless, she's awesome, and the page is awesome. So we went on there. I was on there for an hour, and all day today, every hour is going to be a different author. So there's me, and there are other authors as well. And so I was the first one. So the first one felt like the opening act. Let's put it that way. So it's kind of timid. It's kind of like not like the opening act. People are getting beers when you're at a show. The opening act, you don't really pay attention to them, But I'm friends with her, and so I'm like, she's awesome. I'm gonna do it. So, yeah. So I wanted to stir things up, and I had a friend of mine just post on everything that how she wants to kill me. She's like, I want to wear your skin like a suit. Stuff like that. Like she's like some psychopath. It's a joke. Everyone knows it's a joke, but not everybody knows it's a joke.
That's right. That's right. That's right. No. This is her on her page or on a group about books, or is this on her author page?
This is on a group about books. This is on a group. Yeah.
Okay.
On Facebook. On about books. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Seriously, if you're an indie author out there, or a reader of indie authors, just go on Facebook and just do some research. There's an insane amount of people. It's a whole culture. It's an entire culture of people who just love reading and people who love writing, and they're all indie books, and they're doing it for themselves. They're not doing it for the corporations. They're doing it for themselves, and it's wonderful. So yeah, a lot of these bloggers, they have these groups and they have these events where they have people, they have authors who are just every hour a different author takes over. A different author does something. So I had noon to 1, and then that was scheduled before this podcast, and So
okay. Eastern time, right? Because I'm
Eastern time, yeah. Eastern time.
Because I'm San Diego, California.
You got the nice weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the nice weather.
Well, you know what? I think that's absolutely awesome. I think what the groups are doing, I'm gonna promote that as well. And you know, on that page, Nicholas, something important. I have a lot of authors in the different groups that we have. We have more than 150,000 authors now. A lot of them just go and say, and this is exactly what they say: buy my book. And they put a link, and then they say, I wonder why people don't buy my book. But what you're doing. Right? What you're doing right now, helping other authors, what you're doing of collaborating in the groups, what you're doing with everything, this collaboration really, really, what I call karma for the West, this really gets noticed and really gets you an audience. And I think it's great. What you're doing is great, the collaboration that you do, and it's something that every author, not just indie authors, but every author has to learn how to do.
Yeah, you can't we talked about before. I can't be. An author can't be like the guy stuck in some shack somewhere, you know, and it was a typewriter. They got to get out there on social media. They have to.
That's right.
Man, it's like no one's going to read your book if they can't get it to read it.
That's right. And now more than with all of the access, people want to know about you, about the author. It's not just reading the book. People want to know about the person now. Not like the good old days that you could, or maybe not so good old days, right? That nobody knew who wrote the books, and maybe it wasn't even their name. Now, people want access. They want to know what you were thinking. They want to know how you came up with the character. It's a different game now.
Yeah. You're 100% correct. And you know, we are the future. Just like podcasting, it's a new medium. It's a lot of people don't even know. A lot of people don't even know that podcasting existed, and since Mark Maron interviewed Obama, you know what I mean? Let's do it. Let's move into the future. You and I, we're going to do this.
That's right, and that's interesting. I've been doing the name podcast, of course, came afterwards, but I've been recording conference calls, let's say, and just having them online for maybe 10 years. So it's not a new media, but you're right. It's now it's mainstream. Podcasting is mainstream now.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's shake up the future. Let's change it.
That's right.
Let's have some fun. It's the coolest way. Yeah.
Well, Nicholas, it's been a pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. And everybody, this has been Nicholas Tanek. And this is Jorge Olson for Books and Writers podcast by Promocave. It's always a pleasure. I know your time is valuable, and I'm very, very happy that you decided to spend it with us. Thank you. Bye.